Breaking news. Arsenal are out of the Champions League, and that is full time, ladies and gentlemen. Not half time, whoops. Full time. Arsenal are out. PSG are into the Champions League final for the second time in their club's history. Arsenal have bottled it again. Again, I'm sorry, Arsenal bottled it. Your fans gave all the big talk, all this and this, after you beat Real Madrid, blah 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 blah. You went to Paris and you got knocked out. It's as simple as that. And that is now 5 years without your club have won a trophy. 5 years since your club last won a trophy. You call yourselves the third biggest club in England. This and that. Oh yeah, we've done invincibles. We've done doubles. Woohoo! Where's that now? Because all it is now looking like you potentially could be finishing third place, second again, like you are in club stature in terms of trophies. Because you're not the biggest club in England in terms of trophies. You're third, and that's where probably you're going to be finishing in the league this season. Decent game of football, if I'm being honest. Donnarumma, man, proving the critics wrong. Redemption story for him. For many years, people criticised Donnarumma ever since the Euros, when he was absolutely magnificent for Italy. Ever since then, he's had a couple of injury problems. He's made bunches of mistakes and stuff like that. But over these two legs, and even in the lead up to the other rounds, he's been absolutely magnificent. Absolutely brilliant. Other players that deserve a shout out. Ashraf Hakimi, one of the most underrated fullbacks I personally think in Europe, stepped up with a couple of goals in this tournament and been brilliant. We all know the PSG quality of their midfield, man. This is a different PSG over the past couple of years. With the Galacticos, the superstars, they've still got quality players, obviously. In your Doués, your Kvaratskhelia, your Fatinas, your Neves, and your Hakimis, like I just mentioned, but you haven't got that big egos anymore. You've got players that want to really play for the club, that have embedded and believed in the project that Enrique is trying to progress at your club. You've wrapped up the league months ago like you normally do, but it's always been about the Champions League for PSG. And one of the things that's always let them down is when they've had opportunities, they've crumbled under the pressure. We almost saw that at Villa Park, but that for me was a learning experience for them because they didn't. They managed to get over the line. And I feel like that victory for me, not because beating Aston Villa is absolutely amazing, but the fact that you didn't crumble and now you've got to a semi-final. And to be honest with you, you've been by far the better team over the semi-final, in my opinion. I thought you was completely the better team in the first leg. In the second leg, I thought it was a lot more even. Arsenal actually created a lot more chances, actually went for it potentially more. Missed big chances. Bukayo Saka, despite getting on the score sheet tonight, missed an absolute sitter. If any of you have watched Manchester City a couple of years ago where Sterling missed that shot against Lyon, it's very similar to that. But yeah, poor Arsenal. And obviously, David Raya makes the penalty save. Again, that's, to be honest, you didn't really have anything much to do tonight, barring the penalty save. But one man in particular, everyone here rates Lewis Skelly. I think he's an absolute talent for England. I think he's an absolute talent for Arsenal. But his inexperience really showing tonight, and he got absolutely cooked. Timber got cooked last week. I don't know how Timber keeps playing because I'm not being funny. I think Timber's absolutely one of the best right backs in the league, in the Premier League. But when I watch him, man, there's so many times where he is just genuinely not fit. He's coming back off an ACL injury and he's playing every single game when possible for Mikel Arteta. And I'm like, yo, he's not fit. You can tell. Bukayo Saka at times tonight shown he is genuinely not fit. He's been rushed back. He's been playing off adrenaline to try and perform in the UEFA Champions League. And it's as simple as that. Fair play and credit to Paris Saint-Germain now, where they will go to a Champions League final where they will play Inter Milan. I think it's going to be a really interesting final Obviously, they got to the final 5 years ago when they played Bayern Munich and they lost, and they was against one of the arguably the best team in the world in that 6 months period where Hansi Flick came in and won like 6 trophies in 6 months, absolute madness, and they was playing beautiful football under lockdown. But PSG have evolved and they've grown that experience in the Champions League. Tonight, if they had played a team that actually had if there was a better team, there was a chance they could have gone out tonight. And the reason why, there's players in world football that takes the chances that Arsenal have taken. But Donnarumma stepped up. But PSG, they miss a lot of chances. Bradley Barcola and Duane especially. And I know, obviously, Dembele came on because he wasn't fully fit, obviously coming back from an injury. But if PSG, if I reckon in the summer, if they can go and get a gunman, like a Victor Osimhen who's going to be cheap, if they can go in for maybe like an Isak or Gyökeres, man, I think they're just going to get better and better because their midfield, they've got a really good core of the midfield that has the aggression, the domination to be able to defend from deep, ping the ball from deep, create chances, keep it calm and composed, being able to show the flair and dominate in midfield like they have done in the Champions League, especially against my club Liverpool. They've done against Villa, especially in that first leg in the quarterfinals. They did in the first leg of the semi-final against Arsenal, and they're showing that again tonight. But fair play to Luis Enrique. I feel like he's an underrated manager. He has won this Champions League before. Let's just not forget that he has won this Champions League before. And Arsenal are out. They obviously will go out on 3-1 on aggregate. And again, there's obviously players in particular that have let them down. But then Mikel Arteta has let them down because there's times where subbing players off. When they conceded that penalty, which I do believe it was a penalty, by the way, and people are saying it's not, he's literally sticking his hand fully out, man. Like, what we doing here? He knows the ball's coming away. He's sticking his arm out. We have seen them being given time and time again before. So let's not act like those penalties do not get given. But Arsenal are out. They've got nothing else to play for the rest of the season, barring a couple of Premier League games. They got to 2 semi-finals of a Carabao Cup and a Champions League, and ultimately just crumbled. They've been battered in a title race by my club, Liverpool. Don't give me these injury excuses. You was 9 points behind when Bukayo Saka got injured. And the form and the trajectory was on. The gap was getting bigger. You was dropping points. Let's not do this. Let's not use the injury excuse. Please. The only player that I'd actually listen to as an injury is Bukayo Saka. A lot of Arsenal fans don't rate Kai Havertz. Let's not do the whole Kai Havertz thing and act like he's a world-class player, striker that everybody bloody rates in the Premier League. 1 minute he's playing in the midfield, 1 minute he's playing up front. Let's not flip and do this. Please. Let's not use the injury excuses. Your manager has had 5 years at the football club, spent over 700 million. We criticise Chelsea for spending loads of money. We should be criticising Arsenal for spending money. They're not getting over their line. Yes, they are getting into competitions. Yes, they are getting they are in title races. But do you want to be the nearly club? The spicy Tottenham? People criticise Spurs under that little era, that 5-6 year under Pochettino, where they was getting to semi-finals, they was getting to finals, they was in that one title race for half a season with Leicester. They got to a Champions League final. People criticise Tottenham Hotspur. People should be criticising Arsenal because people were saying about that Spurs team, they had a very good, one of the best attacking tens in world football in Eriksen, one of the best front threes and front twos with Kane and Son. One of their back four was actually really good. Trippier, when he was somewhat in his prime, you had the likes of Toby Alderweireld, Vertonghen at the time, players who actually were quality in that 5 years era for Mitrovic Pochettino, but they didn't ultimately get over the line, and people criticised Pochettino for not getting over the line. Why are people not criticising Arsenal or Mikel Arteta? Again, I personally think they're the spicy Tottenham. You know, we banter Spurs for not winning trophies. We should be doing the exact same to Arsenal. If I'm being honest with you, don't use the injury excuses. Have accountability. World-class managers adapt. Just saying, that is my opinion. I mean, look, when Liverpool had mad injury excuses, when we had all our centre backs out, midfielders out, forwards out, we was in a title race until like January. We were trying to challenge for trophies. We got into the Champions League quarter final, and obviously got beat by Real Madrid, who at the time was one of the best teams in Europe. Rightly so, they won the Champions League literally the season before that. So let's not do this. Arsenal are out. PSG are into the Champions League final where they will play Inter Milan. Me personally, I think PSG will go on and win this competition. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. Make sure you are subscribing and smashing the likes to the channel. Take care and goodbye.